It's me again. Back at it again. With more Minecraft. The flag! Okay. I must stay focused. Alright, hang on. Just a moment. Do 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 do. La 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 la. My computer is running kinda slowly. Oh well. That's how it goes, I suppose. Come on now, computer. The nightlight was turned on and it's kind of distracting when I'm trying to play video games, so I like to not have it on. But I turn it on usually because it's late at night. It's also kind of late when I'm recording this, but I can't exactly play video games any sooner because of college and work and work and college and college and work. So, yeah, there's that. But oh well, it's not too big a deal. We're back at it again with more Minecraft. Yep. There have been quite a few recent developments of, well, a lot of things really. Some of which you probably already know, some of which I know you don't know. Such as, a lot of you know my actual name is Zach. Because my friends were insistent on saying it while I was recording videos back in the day. However, I'm recently deciding to change my name to Abigail. Well, not Abigail. Well, it's part of it. That's going to be my middle name. It's going to be Holly Abigail. And then my last name, which I'm not going to share publicly, but you could probably find if you tried hard enough. Not that it's not a great last name, but like, I'm sure you could find it if you tried. But yeah, that's a recent development. Another not so recent development, I should actually tell you, so technically I was trans quite a long time ago and just never told anyone. Yeah. But, I mean, can you blame me? I don't really know. Because, you know, it took courage just to say that I was. And back in those days, I didn't even have, like, anyone to turn to if everything went to hell. Now that I do, I am a little bit more open about it. And, you know, I obviously feel more comfortable telling everyone. But technically I was trans for a good long while and just never told anyone. Partially out of the reasoning of just why would anyone else need to know, and partially because it wasn't like something that came out in normal conversation. Stop having perfect aim, damn you! But you know, it's not exactly something that comes out in normal conversation, so I just really didn't tell anyone. Probably should have. probably should have to do a lot of things. But, you know, that's kind of how it goes, I suppose. You don't tell someone for long enough, and you just never tell them, really. I never really saw the importance of telling everyone because I was pretty much the only person that ever needed to really know it. So I just didn't say anything about it until now. Now, with that said, I wasn't afraid of what everyone might think, but I was certainly afraid of what some people might have thought. And I was most certainly justified in my mostly irrational fear of what everyone would think. Because the few people I really, really, really didn't want to tell, that I told anyway, did end up not liking it all that much. But what can you do? Not really much. You go on with life and just keep smiling, I guess. Keep that smile bright. Keep your voice chipper. And nobody will notice a thing, it seems. Just as long as you don't overtly say anything that's particularly noticeable to anyone. No one will know who I'm talking about, but there is certainly someone that I know that is very close to me that isn't exactly following with the whole being supportive. I don't know if it's that they don't know what to think of it, or if it's like something else, but yeah. I mean, last time I brought it up with this individual, that is the case, they scoffed at it, and it kind of didn't feel great. I can tell you that much for certain. Because that still doesn't really narrow down who it could be. And I kind of want to keep that more or less, you know, private, who actually it is. Because I don't want to oust them in front of a large group of people who would most probably, quite a few of you, I know, would definitely start a war over this situation. Oh, a war in air quotes, obviously. But, like, it would be a pretty sudden and very big explosion of things that I definitely do not need. Speaking of explosions of things I do not need, it would be quite much like that, but worse, and localized entirely within my mind. But yeah, there is definitely someone, uh, probably quite a few people who don't know, do it as well. You know, currently I'm in that right in between area, like physically and vocally, that people don't know what to make of it. It's kind of funny, actually. Like, what most commonly happens is people assume they know, and then they're just like, oh, you must be this, and I'm like, actually, it's the other way around, and they're like, oh, my apologies, and it's just like, Why would you assume? You know what they say? Assumptions are the fool's game. Knowing something for fact makes you at least 30 times more likely to be correct. And being correct is quite a lot of the battle. Actually, I'm going to keep that with me. Just let this go. But one thing I find rather funny about it is as long as I have, like, the trans pride flag with me, people always think it's one of two things. People think it's either that I was this going into that, or I am this and going into that. Basically, you know the math on that one. I already, you probably already know the math on that one. But I just think it's quite funny how people always assume they know until they know, and then they're like, oh, my apologies. Like, I've had that happen a good solid couple of times now. And that's not like a big deal, but it sure is kind of annoying. At least they apologize. I know someone who's just not being supportive at all and just kind of is being a bit of a butt about the situation. So it could be worse. Could be better. I've lived through a lot of bigger problems, so I'm sure it'll be fine, but it's just kind of a pain to explain to them again and again, especially when I know they will never really understand, and I don't think they will ever truly respect it either. Which is very sad, especially because some of the people I didn't suspect who would be like so open and so like caring about the situation turned out to be incredibly caring of the situation and actually like threatened to tase themselves if they get my name wrong. Like, my god. That was in like it was so out of the blue. I was completely unprepared for the situation that took place in that. But you know, they did it. They said, "Hey, you know, if I do this, I'm gonna do this." I'm just like, you really don't need to do that. And they're just like, "Oh, I know, I don't have to." It's just like, it's kind of funny, but it's just like, some of it, obviously, some of it is, some of what they say, some of what he says is probably a joke. But honestly, I don't want to test him. He has set himself on fire before, and I really don't want to know if he's gonna actually tase himself. I don't want to test the theory. But like, he is one of the people I kind of suspected was gonna be a little bit of like not so cool about the situation, but I mean, that's because, you know, his family has someone who is also within that kind of bracket of like the LGBT, whatever, what have you. And of course he picks on them a lot. So that's why I was like, oh, I don't know. But out of all the people, I think that he's probably been one of the most supportive, which is kind of a surprise to me, but also shouldn't be, really. Because, I mean, any good friend would be supportive. Like, I mean, you know, every good friend would be very supportive of each other. And he is definitely a good friend to keep around. Which is why I keep him around. And then, of course, obviously, you know, my sisters, I would bet, probably pretty proud of me, based on things that they've said, that I actually, you know, came out and said, hey, by the way, I'm this. They seem very happy about the situation, very proud of, you know, me actually saying something rather than hiding again for another 4 years. Which I most certainly could have done, yes. I probably would have regretted it. Eventually. But it means quite a bit to me that, like, all of you guys have been so supportive of this, like, it's hardly a change, really. Let's be honest. I've always had a high-pitched voice. I had to push my voice down in order to make it to sound deeper, and, like, you know, I think that's kind of a dead giveaway as it is. That I've had to do that just to sound like a guy. And some people apparently were caught completely off guard about the situation and more or less refused to respect it, as far as I can tell. Obviously, this could be just the case of they don't understand or they don't know, or, you know, I don't want to, like, jump to conclusions because also I'm very paranoid. Those who know me very well know this to be the fact. So when it comes to anyone doing anything for any good reason or any bad reason, I honestly can't tell the difference and start to panic anyway. Which is not exactly a good idea, but it's one that my brain does. And it's not like I can change how my brain works. I mean, my brain may be able to change how I work, but that's different. Different context altogether. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, seriously, where is this? Where is this cave? I have been looking literally everywhere for it. I just want to know where it is. It's below me. Okay, yeah, that's the cave I've been looking for this entire time. It's just been below me. And it's not like I'm cheating, because I knew there was a cave, I just didn't know where. And I could have dug all that out, and I could have wasted everyone's time, but I figured you guys want to be... You guys probably want to see the cave update. Like, a little bit more of the actual cave update in one of these, instead of just me mining for a cave. As much as that is fun, I think it'd probably be better if I actually, like, find a cave of one of these episodes. There we go. There's a cave. Finally. Only took forever. You know, it's like, not to completely just make the entire episode about the new situation that's been going on in my life, but, you know, it's a pretty big one, so you gotta kind of take that and be a little bit understanding with the fact that this situation that's been going on in my life is rather massive and important. So obviously I'm going to be talking about it quite a bit. But one of the people who I expected was going to have a problem with it actually, in fact, confronted me about it. And they're just like, oh, you never been girly before. And it's just like, it's because I've been hiding it from you. Isn't that kind of obvious? You know, like, I've been who I've been for probably 4+ years at this point. 4 or more. Hard to tell. And quite frankly, I think it's very obvious in many aspects of myself that I've been this for a really long time. Kind of like before I was trans, did anyone notice my voice didn't go deeper? It sure as hell didn't. And any amount of deeper it went was because I had to force it to go deeper. So, honestly, I didn't really change all that much, you know, when it comes to it. Well, I mean, there is one reason it got a bit deeper, and that's usually because there's a lot of mucus in my throat, which is a gross thing to think about, but it's true. That's one of the only reasons it actually gets deeper at all. Otherwise, it stays more or less the same. And my throat has more or less just really liked to continue to do that crap where it just generates a bunch of crud, and it's just like bleh, bleh. In fact, sometimes it's kind of hard to talk, which is why I have not been making as many recordings because, you know, my voice wouldn't fit with what I kind of want it to. And, you know, with that kind of thing, I'm just like, maybe I gotta do a bit more, like, work on my voice before I do more recordings and stuff. But, you know, I've just kind of trained myself enough to know that I can sound girly if I try. But, well, I don't even really have to try, let's be honest. I've kind of got that down pat. I don't even really have to try. This is just me talking normally. Because my voice just isn't all that deep when it comes right down to it. Not normally, at least. Because again, I had to, like, throw my voice down. To have a deeper sounding voice, I had to throw my voice down so much. So it was like, you weren't even hearing my voice anymore. You were just hearing what it would sound like if I had a deep voice, which I really didn't mind all that much, but it wasn't exactly my favorite thing to do. I'm dealing with all the creepers in the fast and efficient way. Why is there so many? My goodness. This is the creeper chasm. There's just nothing but creepers. But yeah, it's like, again, not to continue to make this entire episode about that change because I don't really have much else to talk about, and I think you guys kind of are probably going to understand that, again, it's a pretty notable thing. It's a very, very big and notable thing that happened in my life, so I mean, it's kind of like hard not to talk about it in any capacity. But what I was like going to say before I continued to interrupt myself was basically just that, like, for the longest time, I had been just never known what to say or how to say it to anyone because honestly, I kind of thought I was weird back in those days. Like, I just thought I thought I was crazy. Any one of you once think, why did I name myself Crazy Top Hat? That was the reason why. Because I thought it myself insane. Like, I mean, who else questions something so, like, generic, so basic, other than someone who would be considered insane? And I tried to, like, show portions of myself to people that would basically come out and be like, yes, I am this. More than once, and it really didn't seem to take or like have any effect on anything. So I was doing the same thing more than once. The definition of insanity. Doing the same thing more than once and expecting change. And it's like I had thought maybe if I just like am this way for now and then like think this kind of thinking for now, but then get out of it before it matters, it won't really change how I am, but obviously that's not how that works. So, yeah. That's kind of what I currently think of my 2 cents and why, like, a little bit more of my backstory and things like that with the situation. Because I don't know about you, but I think it's rather interesting just to hear the backstory on it. Oh, and now we're entering the new type of area. The new caves. Wow. have never seen a cave this big. And it is epic. Also, in case you were wondering, I actually did try to come out of the shell quite a few times throughout life, and then just never really had the guts to do so at that time. 'Cause I didn't know who I could trust, who I could turn to if everything went to hell. You know, as I had said before, probably. If I remember correctly, I think I said that before. Nice nice lava generation right there. But you know, I didn't know who I could turn to, who I could trust, and stuff like that, so I just didn't tell anyone. But there were definitely several times where I was like, I should tell someone. There was absolutely times that I can remember where I was just like, almost gonna tell someone mid-conversation, and then just kinda didn't say anything about it. Like, I was, one of these times I was basically like, literally just about to tell someone, and then just kind of ummed my way out of the conversation, and they didn't seem to notice. In fact, it happened quite a few times. There we go. Also, this is my new character. It's basically representative of that character, you know, as my new character. It's the kitsune that's wearing the top hat. And also because I'm trans, I made the kitsune look feminine. Well, the most you can make a fox look feminine. Basically, just give it anime eyes. Wait, what am I doing? There's a chest right here. Give it anime eyes. Not enough anime. But yeah. That's why there's a foxtail. And also, those things on the side of its head are its ears. Though it's hard to show those off without giving people, like, whiplash, like, without, like, shaking the camera around a lot. Although I suppose I could do this. Those are the ears. But yeah. New character, new pronouns, new lifestyle. Everything is new. Well, not everything. Same old me. Same old me. not really sure what to talk about anymore because all of what I really wanted to say has already been said, so I suppose I'll just go on a rant about something random. Probably, as soon as an idea comes to mind. Well, the only idea that's currently coming to mind is about gender uh, dysphoria and being able to not really align oneself with their own, like, birth-given identity. And yeah, that story's been told at least 1 billion times over, I'm sure, already by now. I think you guys kind of get the idea that this has been the case for a long time. Not exactly sure what else to say about that situation other than that it's been that way. Well, I suppose I could go on an adventure. Before I go on an adventure, I'm going to make a compass, though. That way I know my way back. I should put these away. Take these back out because I'm going to use them. Put that away. Make myself a pair of boots. There. And off I go on an adventure. Actually, I should probably get shears because then I can make... Nah. I know what to do later. I'll make a sheep farm with the colors. So I don't have to, like, do it so frequently and then be like, oh, I'm in creative mode for the banner. And just be like, ooh, 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 creative mode, oh. I could just be like, haha, I have sheep for wool for banner. But that'll be a later date that I do that on. On an adventure, running along. There's turtles down there. Turtle power! Whoa. Well, let's see what's down here then. Doesn't seem like a whole lot currently. Mostly just copper. Copper and coal. I don't really need either of those, so I guess I'll just move on then. Iron. Well, yeah. I have an alt account that I do a lot of things on. I've had it for, like, basically a while, just because I didn't want to, like, explain all those things about, like, all that to everyone right away. But now that I basically have shown myself, I'm like, okay, I can get rid of my main account that is, like, mostly pointless. Which was, well, this is for Discord in case you're wondering, obviously. Actually, I have a few alt accounts that I use, but it's not like I'm not like getting VAC banned from something and then going to an alt. I'm like, I have games that I play for YouTube on one, and then games I play just because I want to play them, or like games I stream on another. That way I don't have like conflicting things, or like, well, not conflicting, there's no confliction, but it's just like, that way I can be like, yeah, these are the games I can stream, these are the games that I can't stream, or well, that I can, but no one would be interested in. And a few things like that, but it's not like, nothing major, really. But yeah, that's also a thing that's happening, or that happened, depending on which context of which item or what thing I'm talking about at any given time. I made a friend very recently who is bi. How did I find that out? Well, I made a keychain for my car keys that has the trans flag on it, and they're just like, oh, well, nice flag, and I'm just like, oh, thanks, yeah, I made it recently, and they're just like, oh yeah, yeah. So are you trans? And I was just like, yes. And then we started talking about things, and now I have a new friend. That's how I made a lot of friends, though. I have a lot of friends basically just through being someone, being a likable character, I suppose. As long as people are interested in me as a character, then they are like, ooh, I'll be your friend, sure. And for the first time since having made the trans pride flag like keychain thing, someone actually noticed it. It doesn't make it doesn't take much to make me really happy, but you know, just like someone taking notice of it, or like basically just calling me by my like actual preferred pronouns is just like, I don't know, it makes me very happy. It's kind of freeing from like this mortal coil. Obviously, I'm not referring to the actual mortal coil because there's nothing that frees you from that except for death, but it frees me from being like feeling like someone else, I guess, which is kind of a bad way to explain it because I don't feel like I'm someone else. I just was someone else for all of my life. Like, if I'm to be honest, I can probably go back to times when I was like a little kid. Like, very young, and probably pinpoint the exact time I asked myself what makes me different than my sisters. I can probably pinpoint a time when exactly those words crossed my little mind at that time. Well, actually, my mind at that time, it was still pretty much the same. Minds don't change all that much. My little bodied mind would be more accurate because I had a massive head, apparently. If you ask Amber. Which is one of my sisters, yes. In case you had no idea. I don't feel like knowing that my sister's name is Amber is gonna like suddenly cause like a wave of people to be like, oh my god, oh my god. It's kind of like a, you know, it's a name, like whoop-de-diddly-doo. We all have them. But yeah, it's just like I could probably pinpoint a time when I would actually thought that, like, completely, like, not just like hindsight, but like just ordinarily thought that exact question. Like, it's not like, not trans hindsight. Like, oh, obviously you were always thinking this way. But no, like, legitimately, I was thinking this way for a very long time. And just always was. Haven't stopped thinking the same way since, ever. I think it was probably from the time that I was thinking. If I'm to be 100% honest and like fully clear with my own mind, it was probably from before I was even like, because like honestly, I was raised in a family of only girls, and like the only male influence I had was on Wednesdays and every other weekend. And I mean, I didn't really bond with him all that much because he was mostly drinking alcohol or watching the football game. Two things I'm very uninterested in. Not to say that that's not, that's a lifestyle. I honestly don't mind, but it's just like, I didn't bond with it because I didn't really care for football. I just viewed it as a dumb sport that guys played and only guys, but obviously that's incorrect because some girls probably do play it, and I would have to bet there's girl teams, but like, no one ever seems to watch them play. But, that's a different thing entirely. That's beside the point entirely. The point of this all is basically just to say, like, I've probably been thinking this way for a good solid long time. So yeah, newsflash, I've been trans since, well, a very long ass time ago. But at that time, well, there were quite a few things why I didn't say it any sooner. When I was a young kid, I didn't even know trans was a thing. When I was a young kid, I didn't even know that I was. I just was like questioning whether or not, like, what makes me different. Like, it's not like I was like 100% certain on anything at that time, which I didn't have to be, obviously. And I still don't have to be 100% certain, but I most certainly am. But I just think it's kind of funny that I can like pinpoint the time that I actually was like, what makes me different? And I was kind of upset by the question. Like, my mind was just like, there shouldn't be a difference. Because honestly, I viewed myself as kind of a lady at that point too. If I'm probably 100% honest, I probably viewed myself as a woman since forever because those were the only people I ever spent time around. The people that taught me, the people that raised me, the people that basically showed me how to live, all of which were female. most of which were my sisters and my mother and my grandmother, and also, you know, all of those people, all of the people that are important to me. But it's just like, none of them can make a real good, like, male influence because none of them are. And all it takes is like a good male influence to know what it is, and I'd never had one growing up, so I just never thought I was one. Like, psychology wise, it's kind of a no brainer that I became what I am now. I think it was probably destined to happen whether I wanted it to or not. Whether I knew it was going to happen or not. Which I'm pretty sure I had been guessing it was going to happen since a long time ago as well. Well, that's just the thing. I can say it's been all this time and all this time and all this time. But without anything like meaning anything at all, you could basically just say, oh, well, I mean, everything is within time. And I would be like, well, yes. But also, like, this one's pretty specific. And very noticeable. In fact, I'm surprised it took this long. And actually, no one else noticed, but it took me telling everyone else for any sort of noticing of anything that I've done that's particularly girly to actually show up at all. I mean, I suppose people don't typically look towards men for the girly things they do. You know, it's just people don't do it. But I'm surprised no one happened to notice at any moment that I may not be what they thought. So I mean, it was like it's pretty good kept secret for a long, long time. Which I'm definitely a good idea that I kept it for at least a while. But I don't know if it's a good idea that I kept it for that long, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sure you probably do because it's kind of obvious. But yeah, I might have kept it for a little bit too long. Maybe just a little bit. But I mean, like, you probably would do the same if you were in my situation. Mostly because a lot of the people that are in this situation kind of feel most genuinely in the same direction. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like knowing what to do versus knowing how to act. Like, it's all sorts of weirdness going on. Hard to explain exactly what I mean without sounding absolutely insane again. But the thing is, it's just like, it is how it is. You know, the ever-going non-stop flow of time eventually catches up with everything, and even if you have the world's most kept secret, chances are you're gonna feel like you need to say at least something, and then someone's gonna find out. And honestly, for me, I'm really glad that the first people to find out was my sisters and friends, because if I had to, if the first person I told was the person whom I'm not naming or giving any specific title to, who didn't appreciate the new title or the new, like, changes, I don't think I would have been able to tell anyone else. I really, truly do not think I would have been able to tell anyone else if the first person I told didn't appreciate, like, at least some part of my, like, at least see my like struggle as the struggle of someone who they care about, and not just, oh, they're just going through a phase or whatever. Which I don't think they actually think that, but who knows what they think, really. I sure don't know anything about it. The only thing that I know for certain is that people make mistakes, and maybe it's just a mistake that they thought that, and maybe they didn't really mean to scoff. I honestly don't know. Don't crucify them, please. As much as I know quite a few of you probably would, because you are very protective and very caring, and I love that about you guys. But also, you know, I'd rather not completely destroy everything by, like, word policing people. It's more of a, I appreciate the changes people are making to their speech, and not a, you are forced to speak this way. Because otherwise, that's how you get, like, resentment and people just misgendering you on purpose because they just simply hate you. And that's the opposite of what I want as well. You know, I don't want people just absolutely flat out hating me enough just to just say it anyway. Just be like, oh, well, fuck you. You know? But, like, again, had the first person I told reacted with a, like, confliction, or, like, confronting me about the situation, I don't think I would have told anyone else. And the very first person I told was my boyfriend, obviously, because it's probably the biggest fucking deal to him. He needs to know first and foremost. And of course, him being the very loving and very kind individual he is, immediately respected it. He's just like, that's cool. I mean, he had already thought that I was gay, so this wasn't exactly a big change. This wasn't exactly like the change of a lifetime or anything. You know, it was a slight difference. You know, it's not like, oh boy, now you're an entirely different person. No, it was basically just the same thing. Same thing, different thing. If you catch the meaning in that. Alright. That was a good hour-long session of Minecraft. Thank you all for watching, if indeed you still are hearing this very moment. Here, in this very moment. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to boop that subscribe button if you actually made it to this far. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? And, you know, whatever. I don't know.